Today's Chinese underworld is made up of hundreds of different criminal organizations, but its roots can be traced back to just one, an ancient brotherhood called the Heaven and Earth Association, better known to Westerners as the Triads. The origins of China's most notorious gang have long been subject to debate. According to the legend familiar to many Chinese, the story begins in 1671 at a Shaolin monastery in Fujian province. There, a group of Buddhist monks is living a life of simplicity and seclusion. When not meditating, they're busy perfecting the style of martial arts that would come to be known as Kung Fu. One day, the monks learn that barbarian armies are nearing the capital, Peking, and threatening to overrun the Qing Empire.
This was a cataclysm. The imperial armies were not strong enough to withstand this. And so a desperate emperor turns to anybody he can find who can help quell this invasion.
Driven by patriotic duty, the monks of the Shaolin Temple answer the call, using Kung Fu to beat back the barbarian forces without losing a single man. A grateful emperor offers the new heroes riches and lofty titles, yet the monks refuse. Instead, they return to their isolated life at Shaolin, unaware of the treachery of the emperor's advisors.
These evil officials around the emperor suggested to him that if they were powerful enough to do this, God knows how else they might use their powers. So it would be better if we got rid of them.
The emperor, who was Manchurian and not native Chinese, acts quickly, fearing a rebellion from within.
He sends the SWAT team down to Fujian armed with poison and gunpowder, and in a celebratory banquet, the guests get the monks drunk and then later that night set fire to the temple.
Flames engulf the monastery, killing nearly all of the Shaolin monks. The 5 who survive walk for days to escape the emperor's troops. Finally, they stop to rest by a stream, where they discover an incense burner floating in the water. Emblazoned on the bottom are Chinese characters that read, "Overthrow the Qing, restore the Ming."
What that incense burner indicated to these guys was it said, look, this is heaven. Heaven is giving a mandate to us.
To the monks, that mandate is clear. Depose the emperor who betrayed them and re-establish the Ming dynasty, thereby returning China to native rule. Out of this patriotic charge comes a new brotherhood, which the 5 monks spread to every corner of China. For centuries, versions of this story have shaped the mystique of the Triads. Historians, however, say the legend of the Shaolin monks is simply that, a legend. In fact, they say, there's nothing noble about the birth of the Triads.
Chinese organized crime members like to identify themselves with these ancient heroes and warriors in order to glamorize their criminal activities. And I think all that is just garbage.
According to scholars, the true story of the Triads begins in Fujian province during the 1700s. It was an age of economic upheaval, and young men on the fringes of society were forced to hit the road in search of work. But in Fujian, the road was a dangerous place, a world of bandits and thieves.
Fujian is the Wild West of China in the 1700s. One is subject at all times to being insulted, to being bullied, to being robbed, to being taken advantage of, to being swindled, to being even killed.
For protection, the young men banded together into mutual aid societies. These were like surrogate families, brotherhoods bound by sworn oaths of loyalty.
If you were in the marketplace and someone was trying to cheat you, you could say, if you keep cheating me, I'm going to call my brothers, and at the end of the marketplace today, they're going to whack you in the head.
Soon, societies founded for self-defense began to commit crimes of their own.
The kind of men who would have joined these societies and who needed these societies were not choir boys. These were people at the bottom of society.
Here at this temple, it is said, a group of itinerant monks formed a secret brotherhood in 1761. They called it the Heaven and Earth Association, a name inspired by the traditional Chinese view of the cosmic order: heaven above, earth below, and humans in the middle. To represent this relationship, the Heaven and Earth Association took as its emblem an equilateral triangle, a symbol that in time gave rise to its Western name, the Triads. It wasn't long before branches of this new brotherhood began sprouting throughout Fujian province.
There was no godfather, no pope, no central figure. The society was founded as a series of small autonomous units or cells that seemed to appear almost at random.
New recruits were initiated in a solemn ritual, elements of which are still used by the Triads to this day. The ritual often began with the initiates crossing beneath raised swords, symbolically passing into their new family. An animal was then sacrificed, its blood drained, and mixed with wine and incense ash. The initiates pricked their fingers, adding their own blood to this mixture. Finally, after swearing never to betray the secrets of the Brotherhood, they drank. For decades, the Heaven and Earth Association managed to pass under the government's radar. But in 1787, the emperor discovered its existence. With its messianic mythology, the legend of the Shaolin monks, the mysterious secret society seemed to pose a challenge to the ruling dynasty.
So if they launched a sort of witch hunt along the coast of Fujian, where in some places they went literally from house to house, searching out people supposedly associated with the Heaven and Earth Society.
But the witch hunt backfired badly.
The more the government or anybody else tries to stamp it out, the more it seems to spread and thrive.
Individual members went underground, scattering across China, and carrying with them the secrets of their criminal brotherhood. Almost overnight, the government's failed crackdown turned the Heaven and Earth Association into China's most famous and notorious secret society. Over the next century, the Triads would spread throughout Southeast Asia and take root in American Chinatowns. Since the founding of the Heaven and Earth Association more than 2 centuries ago, the Chinese underworld has survived and thrived, but it hasn't lost any of its mystery.